Okay, so today we are working with our lesson number 6, which is default routing. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and now we have to understand what is default routing. Okay, and these are the topics what we will be covering today. Okay, same thing
Yes.
because we are talking about routing. So, again, what is routing? Okay, so same thing like that routing is a process which forwards the packet from one network to another network.
Mm-hmm.
Routing is used to create communication between two different unreachable network. Routing also helps to find best path from source to destination. Right. Now we're saying here normally if a specific route to a particular destination network goes down, okay, network does not exist in the routing table, a router will drop all the traffic sent to that network. Okay, means if right now maybe if my system is connected here and I want to reach this network, this particular, so if this particular network is not listed in my system or listed in the router, this router will drop the packet. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
same here. Types of routing, we have two type of routing. Okay, IGP, EGP. Okay, in IGP we have static, default, dynamic. So a static is a manual routing concept where we configure everything manually, we remove
Mm-hmm.
manually, we add manually, we modify manually, and in static routing, and in default routing everything is default. Default means default routing is like when you are connected with ISP and you just want to run internet and you want to communicate to any IP. In that case we configure default routing. Dynamic, we will
Mm-hmm.
be starting after default. We will understand dynamic is automatic routing. Okay, now types of routing: static, default, dynamic. Okay, static is a
Mm-hmm.
manual routing for known destinations. Default routing is for unknown destination, but you want to communicate like internet. Like I want to communicate to Google, Yahoo, Facebook, but I don't know the internet address. Okay, I do not know the destination address like that. Okay, so I just want to communicate. So default routing is what? So default routing is a technique in which router is configured to send all packets to the same hop device. Same hop device means same hop device is like next hop, you can say like ISP or any exit gateway.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and here is that, and it does not matter whether it belongs to a particular network or not. You just want to send
Okay.
him and that guy is responsible to provide you reachability. So normally
Mm-hmm.
ISP is always there when you are connected with ISP, and when you are paying at that time ISP is always responsible for providing you reachability to reach any internet address. Now a packet is transmitted to the device for which is configured in the default routing. Means anything you want to communicate and the packet is there, it will reach to that network. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
default routing is used when network is dealing with a single exit point, but when you have multiple exit points at that time default routing is not recommended. Okay, now it is used, it is also useful when bulk of transmission network is happening, or bulk of transmission data is coming to your system, means to your router. Okay, so immediately instead of processing, like maybe inside your organization all users are trying to reach internet, so they will
Mm-hmm.
send data to your router, that router which you are using in your organization, and that router will not process anything. That router will just forward all the requests to ISP, and ISP will process, and ISP will provide you communications. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
this two thing you will come to know while practice. Okay, when we will do this practice. Okay,
Yeah.
now default route is used when destination is unknown, like internet. Default routing helps in reducing the size of routing table. In default routing, you will not find any kind of routing table, just like default normal. I want to communicate to
Mm-hmm.
this network, that's it. A
Mm-hmm.
default route or gateway allow traffic to be forwarded without a specific route to a particular network.
Mm.
Okay.
Okay.
Just default is there, whatever data is coming, it will be forwarded. But the data which will, or the packet, when it will be forwarded from your system to ISP, and ISP have all the routes. Okay,
Mm.
that's why
Yeah.
it's providing you reachability. Here router will not share default routes with each other in the to the connected neighbors. So here also default route, you have to define your own default route. Here you have to define your own default route.
Can
Okay.
you make it a little bit bigger?
Okay.
I can't see anything here.
Here, like saying that when you configure default routing,
Mm.
okay, so in that case default routing you have to configure, like uh, when you will configure network, so at that time you want to communicate to all networks. So all network is what? 00 means I want to communicate to all network, no specific network, right?
Mm.
Okay, so here also you have two option, like how we have configured static. To configure default routing we have two method. One is next hop address and local router exit interface. Okay, same thing.
Mm.
Here also we have two things, advantage and disadvantage. Advantage is that it is easier to configure. Okay, it is more effective in selecting best route. Okay, best route means what?
Mm.
And best route, and if there will be any changes in the topology, it will not consider that one. Okay, just it will
Okay.
consider the next hop address, that's it. Inside whatever you are changing, whatever you are adding, no problem.
Okay.
Disadvantage, it is more expensive in terms of CPU and bandwidth uses. Okay, and it is less
Mm.
secure. Yes, CPU bandwidth usage means like whenever any data will come, right, it will immediately
Mm.
forward. Okay, so for forwarding also, your CPU utilizations is there. Okay, and your bandwidth utilization is also there. It's not that if any data is coming or if any packet is coming, let me discard it. No, it will not. It will never discard. It will always forward,
Okay. Okay.
and it is less secure. Less secure. I told you that it is that router is ready to accept any route. Okay, and that router is ready to forward any route, any packet.
Mm.
That's why it is less secure. Okay, now let's work on the lab. Okay, so let's delete this one. Okay, see, whenever we talk about any lab, you have to work on few steps. Like first, design and connect your lab. So you design and connect, then configure IP address. Okay, now let's see
Mm.
about IP addresses. Okay, so first start all the labs. Okay, started. Now take click here to get a console of. Okay, so we'll bring router 1 here and router 2 here. We'll verify IP address. See, IP address is already pre-configured here. Router 1, we wanted to verify the IP address. So router 1 has two interface, E0 by 0 and E0 by 1. So we'll type here, so IP interface brief exclude unassign. Yes, IP is also configured here on this interface also. R1. Now come to R2. Yes, here no IP configuration. So we'll come to R2 and type here conft interface E0/1 IP address is 12.1.1.2. No shutdown means no shutdown is to enable. Okay, shutdown means to disable. Okay,
Mm.
and then interface E0 by 0 IP address is 192.168.20.3, I think. 255.255.255.248. Is it 20.3? Okay, 10.3. Fine. No shutdown. Save this configuration and then verify the routing. Verify the R2 E0 by 1 configured in so IP interface brief. What happened? So running config. Okay, interface IP is there. Okay, fine. I don't know why it's not showing with this command. So IP interface brief. Okay, see, sometime this is a software. Sometime if you are getting like this problem, so what you have to do,
Mm.
you just have to stop and start this router. Okay, but sometime in like maybe if you will get this type of,
Yeah.
yeah, sometime, not every day. Like while practicing, maybe your system processor is running very high. So IP interface brief. See, now is okay. Have you seen it?
Mm.
So now all is okay. So R2 is also fine now. PC3 and PC4 IP is okay. So what we did, we design our network, we configured IP address. Then third process is that verify the communication. Okay. So if you want to
Mm.
verify the communication, let's come to PC1. Okay, which belongs to 10 network and try to communicate to 20 network, right? These PCs,
Mm.
these 20 network computers. Okay, so if you're coming here and trying to ping 192.168.20.1, no reachability, destination host unreachable. So for that, here you can say that no reachability, right?
Mm.
Verify the communication. After that, we here you have to check routing table and then configure routing. Okay, now you come here and check routing table. So type here command so IP route. Okay, see, are you getting here something gateway of last resort is not set, right?
mm,
and no routing is also defined to reach and to go outside from router. Nothing is there. So
mm,
how you can
mm,
define routing, default routing? You just come here and conf t, okay, and you say that I want to reach IP route, okay, I want to reach any network, okay, but I know who is my
mm.
exit gateway, who is my neighbor, R2, right? R2 is your neighbor. So what is your R2
Yeah,
address?
yeah.
Your R2 address is 12.1.1.2. Simple. Okay, now come again R2. See, if you check here, so IP route. Okay, do R2 have same reply path? No reply path here. So for reply path also, you should configure same default route, or you should configure static. Okay, so you say here IP route 12.1.1.1. Simple. And now you check here routing table. See, gateway of last resort is set here, right? And here also a static
Mm,
route is defined. R1 is your company router. Okay, and now if you are checking, see, gateway of last resort is set towards ISP, and all the network which is coming to you, you will directly forward it, and a static default is configured. See, static and candidate default you will find here. Star means candidate default. Okay, and now when this PC is trying to communicate, see, communication is very easy now. Are you getting?
mhm,
Yeah. Okay, now my question is, okay, one command is there. I just wanted to show you something. Just wait. So IPCEF 192.168.20.1 12.1.1.3. Okay, fine, no problem. Okay, now my question is that for making your default route more efficient, okay,
mm,
okay, we can combine both command together, exit interface and next hop. Okay, so what we can do, if you are typing here conf t, remember this command, you just say no here first, okay, and then write a new command again, okay, and here see you have exit the default gateway, okay, and you write here exit
mm. Yeah,
interface
yeah.
se0/1, okay, and now if you are checking, so IP route, okay, and check, see this routing table, okay, and your current routing table is different, right? Means you have combined your default gateway, means exit interface plus default gateway, and okay, and this is okay, no problem. So here what is saying that whenever your system will try to communicate now, so your processing will be more faster than this command, okay. So in a static and
Mm,
in default you can combine both exit interface plus your gateway. Okay, now one question will come that maybe for example, maybe for example your company network is designed like this. Your company, these are your users, the user computers, they are connected to your own company router, and you are the administrator, network admin, okay, you are the admin. Now Now, when you are the admin, so you are only responsible to configure this router one, right?
Mm.
And you as an administrator, you will configure default route towards this network. But this is ISP network, right?
Mm.
Okay. So ISP always configure dynamic routing, and static. Okay.
Mm.
Yes. So ISP will not configure these kind of default, because see, ISP wants to configure and communicate to a specific networks, not all network. Okay.
Okay.
So ISP will say no problem. You configure defaults towards me. See, you want to configure default. Why? Because you want to communicate to all networks, right? Okay.
Mm.
But you are paying only for specific network. Maybe you want to pay for this network to reach internet, right? Means
Mm.
you want that whatever your LAN computer wants to reach internet, no problem. So normally ISP configure static and dynamic towards your network. Okay, so let me show you the real network design, how ISPs are connected. Okay,
Mm.
so let me design this lab, ISP, default ISP lab. Okay, default ISP lab. So same here, we are going to take one router for your organization router. This is the ISP router. Okay, and ISP is using one server. Now your organization, you are using one here layer 2 switch. Okay, and here you have some computers. Okay, fine. Now we can see why I'm keeping all this thing. Like normally we have to change icon of the routers. Okay, so you will see
Yeah.
in the scenario, you will see like this. Okay, like this ISP, like this, right? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, so I'm connecting these all labs in front of you, so you will see, okay, how it is connected. Okay, so these are your PCs. This is your layer 2 switch. Here is This is our layer 2 switch. Okay, fine. PC1 will make duplicate to have PC2. PC3 and PC4. Okay, let's connect it. Okay, so this is ISP, so let me change the symbol here.
Mm.
ISP. And this is our server. These all are internet servers, okay, where Google, Yahoo, Facebook, they all are added. Change the host name SRV. So here we are using one IP address which is 12.1.1.0/30. Okay, inside LAN we are using 192.168.10.0/29, and here we are using 23.1.1.0/30, and here we have loopback 1 which is acting as the router 3. So let's say 1.1.3.3.3/32. This address we are using for Google. Okay, loopback 2 we are using 3.3.3.2/32 we are using for Yahoo, and loopback 3 3.3.3.3/32 we are using for Facebook. Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now we enable the ports. Okay, start all the devices and then take console. Same thing we have first, after designing we will configure IP address. So we'll bring the devices like that: PC1, PC2, PC3, PC4. So instead of 29, let's use 24 to make it easy. Okay. So I'll come to PC1 IP 192.168.10.1/24 and gateway is 10.10, and then save. Let's come to PC2. Here we will assign 10.2 and then save. Come to PC3, 10.3 and save. PC4,
Mm-hmm.
save. Now we are coming to router 1. Router 1 have two interface, so I'm coming here conf t interface E0 by 0 IP address 192.168.10.10 no shut, and then interface E0/1 IP address is 12.1.1.1, then no shut, and we will save this IP configuration. Then I'll come to ISP. ISP have also two interface conft interface E0 by 0 IP address is 12.1.1.1 2 sorry 25 interface E0/1 IP address 12.1.1.2 no shut. Okay, then interface IP address sorry 192.168. Make it 20.10 255.255 no shut. Then interface E0 by 0 IP address is 12.1.1.2 no shut. Okay, then configuration is okay and verify also. So IP interface brief exclude unassigned. Yes, verified. Fine. Come here also to PC1 router 1. Fine. Now SRV server. Server has four interface conft interface loopback 1 interface loopback 2 interface loopback 3, then exit. Then come here type interface E0 by 0. ISP router E0 by 1 IP address is wrong. Conft interface E0/1 IP address is 23.1 no shut. Okay, fine. E0 by 0 is 20 IP address 23.111.2.255.252 no shut, and then interface loopback 1 IP address is 3.3.3.1.255. Okay, then loopback 2. Loopback 2 is like this, and loopback 3 is Facebook address. Okay, now one thing, like how I said loopback 1 is for Google loopback. So if you want to put these information with the interface, so we can write here like interface loopback 1. Okay, description. This is for Google server. Okay, exit. Now if you want to put loopback 2 is for Yahoo server. Okay, and loopback 3 is for Facebook server. Facebook server. And come here, save it, and type here so IP interface brief exclude unassigned. See, everything is there now. Okay, fine. Now part is coming for routing, because see, if you'll try to communicate from here to Google or Facebook or something, no destination host unreachable, right? Now see how ISP, because see ISP will be ready for everything, right? Okay,
Mm.
are you understanding? So see how
Yeah.
actual network is configured. See, between ISPs, okay, here you will find, some dynamic routes are running here. Dynamic routing you will find between ISPs. Okay, so any dynamic routing, RAID, IGRP, OSPF, like that. Okay, any. Okay, so we are not. So if you want, you configure like that. Okay, so maybe like between ISP, we are using something like EIGRP or say like RIP. Okay, any, but dynamic routing is run. Okay, okay. Now, so here we let me write something like from R1 to ISP, you have to configure default routing. Default routing. Okay, let me write these statements here. From R1 to ISP, default routing. The first. Okay. Now second, you have to say that ISP to R1, your company router, you have to configure static routing. Okay. After that, number third, ISP to server, or you can say WAN devices. Okay. Okay, it depends what you want to configure, like dynamic. Okay, so normally it is dynamic routing. Okay, but as we haven't worked on dynamic routing, so we will be working with static here. Okay, are you understanding? When we will work on dynamic, then we will work on these type of scenarios. And same here, number 4, like SRV to ISP, we have to configure static. So let's remove this one to not have confusion. Okay, static. So we'll configure here static routing, and here we are configuring default from R1 to ISP, and static from ISP to R1. Okay, so now let's come here, simple. So we'll complete our these configurations. Okay, from ISP end. So come here, conf t. Okay, SRV to R1. Let's say R1. So simply say IP route 192.168.10.0 255.255.255.0, and then you say that exit interface is E0 by 0, and then 23.1.1.2. Oh, sorry, 1. Okay, this command. Only single command, no problem. Then come here to your ISP. ISP will say that conf t IP route. I want to reach your Yahoo network, or simply you say like that: 0 255.255.255.0 and 23 2, and IP route 192.168.10.0, 12.1.1.1. Okay, and R1, you say that okay, I want to reach. So on R1 you configure default route IP route 0000 and then say exit interface like this. Or you can, if you want, you can combine both this command, your default router plus your exit interface E0/1 for efficient routing. Okay, and now after that what you can do, you can come to your PC. Okay, and now you can try to communicate. See, communication is there, right? Even you can communicate to Facebook. Okay, then if you want to communicate to Google, see, communication is there, everyone is communicating. Okay, so here my point is that whenever you see, normally it's not that when we are learning default, so every place you have to configure default. No. Okay, depending on the lab and the depending on the scenario, we have to configure, right? Because see, ISP never configure default routing, so why should I tell you that okay, let's learn how to configure? Okay,
Mm. Mm.
ISP always configure static or
Dynamic.
dynamic. Okay,
They
now
they configure both or both
yes,
at the same time.
yes, now from this default load balancing, okay, and these all things we will be working on in the next class. Okay, from this one.
Yeah, sir. But there is one thing,
Yeah,
Jay.